Okay, you've already heard Anne Brown and Chris Holmes, who are respectively the head of fundraising, and Chris, who's the community projects partnership manager. Yes, indeed. I'm sure we'll learn a little bit more about that in due course. Just to say that the aim today, of course, is to present to the hospice on your behalf the money which was raised from the sponsor book last year, September of last year. I think we'll do that in just a moment. Yes. The amount which we should be presenting to them, he said, looking over your shoulder, is £5,368.90, which I think is, you know, for a club of our size, a very, very good effort indeed. And I personally like to thank all those who supported it for the hospice. It's well worth it. I should just say at this point that I did invite Paul Freeman, who, as you know, has been a supporter of us for many years, to join us today, but he's not doing very well at all, and confirmed today that he's back in hospital. He's just come out of hospital last week. He's not been at all well. We think he's in his 91st year anyway, so clearly, of that money there, I think it's fair to say he raised just under 1/5 of it. So it gives you some indication of the input, well over £1,000 that he puts in every year. He's done that continuously for quite a number of years now. I think we're very lucky if he's able to do it again in view of his health, so clearly that will be a blow to us next year, but we will do our best if we have someone to raise some money. But I think it's an indication of the feelings of local people. Every year we run it in aid of Saint Francis, and I'm sure we'll continue to do so next year, just how people hold that year to their hearts. Everybody looks upon it, I'm sure, as a sort of insurance policy, and it's one of those things which the community well respects and indeed needs. And to a large extent is supported by the charities like us and other charities that put money into it every year. So I think that's the one of, I'm sure if you'd like to make the presentation.
Yes, thank you. It's my real pleasure. Call in camera, please. Look at this.
A little bit lower.
Chairs in the way.
Oh, sorry.
Chairs.
Yeah. Sorry for my stuff.
Okay, are you smiling? Very good.
Well, you may not see because of the dark surroundings.
Lovely.
Thank you very much. This is a collection from my grandfather.
Thank you so much.
Coming up? It's desperate getting it on the website. We'll put it desperate.
So just before you start your slide, our president collects stamps from you all year round, as you know, and there's a great big bag of them there which Jeffrey's asked me to pass on.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. We actually raise, from community sales, including the sale of stamps, we raise best part of £18,000 a year. And stamps, you would not believe how much money we can get for stamps. So, we don't often get stamps these days, do we? They're often frank, but all stamps are gratefully received. Anyway, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having us here today, and thank you for your continued faithful support for Saint Francis Hospice. Before I came out today, I took a look at how much the Rotary Club of Hornchurch and Upminster has raised for Saint Francis Hospice since 1993. And that's in excess of £93,000 before this cheque.
Wow.
So it's an astonishing amount. Yes, do give us that. So as ever, I always like to put this in context, because you might think, well, okay, even £100,000 doesn't plug a hole that is actually 10.5 million in its entirety. But what you have paid for is you have paid for, more than paid for, 2 community nurse specialists to work throughout our community for an entire year. Now that service, the community service, looked after, in 2013-14, looked after more than 1,200 patients. So what that meant for those 1,200, not just the patients, but the families, that at the most difficult time, at the most unimaginably difficult time, they were allowed to care for their loved ones at home. Sometimes it's important that people do come and are cared for in our inpatient unit. But most of us, when we face our last days, we want to be in our own surroundings and we want to be with our loved ones. So our community nurse specialists are the ones that make that happen. Without them, the specialist hospice care wouldn't be available to them. I think one of the greatest things that we do as a hospice is give families the opportunity to be the family, not to be the carer, not to be the nurse, not to be the one that has to manage symptoms and change dressings and all of that. They are allowed to be the husband, the wife, the father, the son, the daughter, the mother. And I think we can't change the outcome of the disease, but my goodness, we can change the shape of those last days. So that money, that has transformed the life of more than, well, it's probably the ripples that go out from these patients, those 1,200 patients that we care for during the year. You think about their families, you think about their loved ones, their friends. Just knowing that their loved one is cared for with dignity, is pain-free, is as comfortable as they possibly can be, it really helps us to move on after a loss. So that's what that money, it's not just money in a bowl, it is life-changing money, and it's just quite unbelievable, really. Some of the, I know that you know what we do as a hospice, but I thought you might not know everything that we do. And so we offer services beyond the person who is suffering with a life-limiting illness. And we do a lot of what we call family and carers support. So some of the things that we offer is twice a week we have what we call a carers drop-in at the hospice, so that if someone is looking after a loved one with life-limiting illness, we try and make sure that the carers are cared for too. And so they can come in, chat about how things are going, what they need to do to look after their loved one correctly and the best possible way. And we really find that it is a massive support. We must not forget those who care for their loved ones. Something that we have just started last year is our walk-on group for people who have been bereaved. Because being British, we don't do terribly well when we're looking at each other and talking about our feelings, do we? One-to-one, face-on. But if you're walking alongside someone, isn't it so much easier to talk? And we can express ourselves a little more. We can be a little freer because we don't have to look anyone in the eye. So we have this group once a week that does an hour's walk from the hospice in the surrounding areas, and it's becoming a real support group that people can support one another through the difficult, very difficult times. We also offer a 6-week counselling course called Hope. Now this was begun by Western Co in Dagenham, the funeral directors, and we now have trained people on site so that in the very, very most raw days of initial bereavement, we are there to support, to encourage and to help with the practicalities actually of losing a loved one. And added to that there is of course continuous bereavement support. We are an adult hospice, so we are only legally able to look after people of 17 years and above. And it is shocking and tragic, the number of very young people that we look after. We think of life-limiting illnesses as old people dying. Well, it isn't. We have a full range of ages, sadly. So, but we do have bereavement support for children, for families, for extended families, for friends, and that can go on as long as people need it. So if a little one loses a parent as a 3-year-old, they might not really feel the impact of that perhaps until they're in their teens. Well, they can come back to us, or to any hospice actually. So we don't just say, right, you've got 12 months, sort yourself out, you're off our books. Not at all. We really do try and care for, it's a dreadful word and overused, but holistic, the whole need of the family. And it's very important that we help people to get along and to start to live again after bereavement. And we have another group for carers that is weekly that's called Better Together, where carers can come together, have a chat, swap stories, and encourage one another. So those are some of the services that we provide beyond the caring for patients, whether it's in our inpatient unit, in our day therapy unit, or indeed at home. It might interest you to know that of the people we cared for in the community, 23% did not have cancer. Now, when we opened in 1984, I think it's probably true to say that 100% of our patients would have been people with what we called then, we don't use it now, but a terminal diagnosis of cancer. But now we're seeing people with heart disease, with kidney disease, with motor neuron disease, mesothelioma, is that the right way to say it? Yeah, that's the cancer that's caused by exposure to asbestos. So we're seeing lots and lots of different diseases, and we're also seeing multiple diseases. We are now all being trained as dementia friends, so that we can understand and help our patients who have a life-limiting illness, but also perhaps are suffering with a form of dementia. So the service is growing and expanding and broadening almost monthly, and it's exciting, and it's wonderful that because of wonderful people like yourselves, we are able to continue to provide this care. We are currently looking to expand what we can actually do on site at Priory Bower. Currently we have a 19-bedded inpatient unit. We would love to double it. So we are in the process of looking at how we can move things along. Mr. Haynes, you'll be glad to know that the pond is being sorted out. I saw Jim there, who's a tremendous supporter and friend and advisor of ours, and we have a pond in our grounds that is listed heritage. Apparently the pond used to form part of the witch's ducking pond back in the day, so we have to be very careful. We couldn't just fix it. We had to jump through all sorts of hoops, but you'd be glad to know that it is well. I think we had that conversation a year ago, didn't we, probably? So we're blessed with wonderful grounds there, and we respect that, and we feel it's very much part of what we do to provide that beautiful haven just outside of Romford that people can enjoy. I really think that I've given you lots of numbers, but I would just like to finish with a couple of testimonials from the people that we look after. They can say it perhaps much better than I can. So I have this one. For the past 5.5 weeks, Saint Francis Hospice has been my second home for me and for my extended family. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your part in making Helen comfortable, cared for and loved for the time she spent with you. You are all very special, and unreservedly, I love you all dearly. We would just like to thank you for the care you have given my husband. You have all been very understanding in what have been very difficult circumstances at times. Your care not only embraces the patient, but the whole family as well. We are all very glad that we are able to take him home so that he can enjoy whatever time remains within his family. Our thanks to you all. So these are real people. The money that you have provided and continue to provide, and your support, your advice, your energy, this is what you're buying. You're buying life-changing situations that you are paying for. The more I get involved with Rotary and see and come and talk with, I really see in action your motto, service before self, and it is, you are an inspiration to me and to many people who come across your path, and I'm so grateful for everything you do. Thank you so much.
As a hospital as well as general practitioner for a number of years, almost 40 years, I don't know what we would have done had we not had the service of hospices like this. When I joined in the NHS in 1973, I never heard of these services. People used to die in a most terrible terminal illness, terrible way, in the home, and people didn't know how to cope with the relatives, had a great difficulties in coping with this sort of situation. As the NHS grew and as time passed, such organization has come in, and all the doctors here, Dr. Hora and Dr. Rahman, we all know that what a wonderful service you are offering to the families, to the society, and to the NHS. I'm very thankful to you for the wonderful insight into the hospices you put in. I really thought only terminal illness was managed, but as you say, there are multiple illnesses have been catered for, and it's such a wonderful service, and we are all very grateful to this. Shall I conclude? You want to say something?
No.
shall we all thank them for their leadership and thank them in the usual way with clapping our hands. Next week, not yet.